right? Lunatics remain arrested in their emotional development for various reasons, but one big one is they pretend they're not to blame and never stop pointing their finger at you, ever, right? Every single thing a psychopath does that you are offended by, or you sense they're trying to offend you, can be simplified as just, you are what I am, you are what I am, you are what I am. That's it, right? And how you remedy that is you smash their face through the back of their fucking skull, right? Really, really simple, right? In a later video, I'll give you special techniques you can use to execute psychopaths really quite quickly. Especially when they're coming, because you won't notice the antisocial psychopath ejaculating in front of you. And even the pro-social psychopath who is delusional, they're antisocial, they will ejaculate in front of you and you will not see it. You can watch Nuremberg after Nuremberg after Nuremberg, there weren't any more than that. And basically you will not see Hitler. You'll not see him ejaculating. However, we'd walk away with a wet patch on his jodhpurs. And yeah, genuinely, you know, he would ejaculate in public all the time. And that is, if you slow down the tells of Berserko Bampot, you can see the tells that he's ejaculating. He ejaculates, man, again and again and again and again and again. In a space of, like, say, 3 minutes, I have witnessed him ejaculating like 30 times, right? I am a speaker weight pressure machine. And basically you have to slow it down to 1/2000th of a second, but I see them at real time, you know. I've always been able to do that. If you're wondering why my throat's sounding a bit husky, it's because I'm a singer and I've been recording a new album. You wouldn't understand anything at all about that, you know, because you're too busy watching square-headed poofs telling children that they can't sing without being aware, ever. You're never aware that they're a paedophile until 50 years after them fucking kids, and then all the kids start coming out going, nobody would believe us, nobody would believe us, you know, like rejects from Michael Jackson's Thriller video, you know, and you know, like, as it happens, now then, and basically, you always have to wait until it's too late. However, you know, Simon Cowell is a paedophile, you know, it's really quite important. You realise, oh fuck, I'm watching a homosexual paedophile making children cry on live television. Because if you really knew his mind, man, you would want to hang him today, you know. Max Clifford and all that fucking shite. You know, you'd want to hang them if you knew precisely everything that they're all about. And if you don't want to hang them when you find out what they're all about, hang yourself. So, that's the problem with the species, right? We have taken consequence out of the equation, you know. When a female was a fucking psychopath, who basically was an emotionally incontinent arsehole, right? Who was having an adverse effect on everyone in the village, we took her to the nearest river and provided her with a fitting end, you know. And also, and this is the most important thing I can say about that, predominantly we did that to males, right? But you'll never ever fucking hear about that. And just think of the insanity, right, of, you'll still read in the newspaper to this day, right? If you read that shite, it must never happen again. There must never be like a burning of witches ever again, ever, right? As though there's anyone going to be reading that who's directly descendant from a witch that was burned, right? Who said, oh, I agree with that because I know one of the cows. You know, nobody. So what the fuck is that doing there in the fucking Zionist Judean Post, right? What's it doing in there, right? It must never happen again. It shows how bad men are to females, right? Even though females commit the vast majority of crime right across the board, right? And the point being, of course, that that's what your legal system is you know, predicated on and praised upon. The fact that they are bullshitting scum who drag men into that system on a regular basis. 2/3 of females who do that are lesbians, right? And those scumbags have got into a relationship with a heterosexual man, fucked with his head, deluding herself she's the queen of chaos. I'm conducting his emotions like I was conducting lightning. She's trying to cause a man brain damage. And I'll tell you who I got that phrase off of. As it happens, Jimmy Savile. You can see it in a documentary on him. He was asked why he doesn't live with a female, and he said brain damage. And I said that to a serial killer called Marie McCallum, who has basically got a get out of jail free card, as all lesbians who are complicit with your law system, right? Right? They have a get out of jail free card as long as they keep fleecing males and giving money to the paedophile ring, right? And the long and the short of it is, they're all in it together, and if you really knew their thoughts, you would realise Jesus fucking wept, you know. Jesus knew this, you know. Jesus of Nazareth, yeah. He was a living Christ, a man truly evolved in the prefrontal cortex circuitry, which gives you an evolved perception of morality. And I am really truly evolved there as well. And so although I've been tried sorely, as was he, remember, Italians, Jews, so-called, and Palestinians, all, and his closest, nearest and dearest, all called for him to be executed, assassinated actually, on behalf of the lying Jews. And all he said was, he said, we're all the sons and daughters of God. He said, I'm from above, you're from below. It was the most advanced way of saying for those times that he's evolved, you know, and you're not evolved. And I've been magnifying the minds of the fucking animate shite that I was Christ-like towards my entire life, until I finally reached the final solution, which is brutal, merciless physical consequence. You know, I'm a living Christ, really remarkably evolved moral conscience, and see people as humans even though they're not, you know, and have an enormous depth of emotion and so on, and compassion and so on. But only if you have those evolved aspects of your brain can you channel the moral law of the universe. Otherwise you're being misled by Pan, the Panned Piper, right? He's leading you off a fucking cliff to your death, you know, and you're going with him, you know, being misled by homosexual paedophiles telling you can't sing, whilst on another channel, I presume, there's homosexual paedophiles hiding in plain view, masturbating in plain view, telling tired, saggy old fucking ex-soap opera actresses that they can't dance worth a fuck. And that's what you're sitting in watching, thinking, I could do better myself, I could do that one day, I could be told by a poof that I can sing and everyone will have gone special. And so, the thing is, that's right, basically it's all bullshit. So, they want you sitting in a flashing box, feeding you what they've been trying to make you since infancy, immoral and narcissistic, right? Keeping you arrested so you don't develop and go into the pretend blame game. So when you see somebody else getting hurt, you're quite happy about that. If somebody else falls flat on their face, you're quite happy about that, right? So you get a world war from that, right? You might not be able to see how that naturally follows. I give you Dresden, World War II. Right? And this is where I am right now. I'm actually in Dresden just before World War II, right? And I'm seeing the people then who've been programmed to be narcissistic, right? To the extent where they want to prey on other people, as they don't have the development of mind that me or another Christ would have, you know. Can't even find them, it's about. And the long and the short of it is, so they're programmed to become more and more narcissistic, told that they're the greatest people in the whole of Europe, and that everyone is inferior to them, and that they're these beautiful imaginary creatures, right? Most of them were fucking brunettes, yet they're seeing themselves as these fucking beautiful blonde Aryan gods and goddesses, and the person telling them all this is 5'2" with a fucking greasy brown cow's lick, and he's masturbating in front of them, you know, you just can't see it. And he knows he's talking utter fucking shite, and him and Stalin killed their first girlfriends. In Hitler's case, I think it was his cousin, a relative anyway, and they killed them by preying on the nerves in the prefrontal cortex until the girls had enough, and they saw something that takes a long time for a human to magnify. So they were obviously very human women, and there they were with inhuman beings who are subhuman, to be accurate, and who pride themselves if they can control your brain, if they can con you like the vicar, like the paedophile judge, if they can con you, you know, then it makes them feel that being born with a peanut for a brain is an advantage, is actually gone superior, right? And for as long as you go along with it, you know, they can delude themselves of this con. And when you catch them, you just let them go back to doing what they were fucking doing without providing them with consequence. Yeah? I've no need to shout, my bum monkey's there. Fuck your bum monkey. The thing is, that's right. Right. You need to provide them with consequence, and I'll give you a very, very good recent example, right? Gatorade. Gatorade. What have we done? Gatorade, right? The fucking filthy subhuman Zionist garbage, we're putting shit into it that destroys the genetics of yourself and future generations of your entire family. And a wee tiny girl says, "Here, I'm not going along with this pish. I've checked, and that does your fucking bum monkey in." Right? So, the spazzies behind Gatorade come out and go, "Ah, ah," and put their arm round her in a photo opportunity to say, "This is how magnanimous we are. We're taking out the toxic sludge that we've put into Gatorade to try and quickly kill all the people that we want to kill, because we are the chosen people, because we have half a fucking chicken's brain, and that's basically we've got a wee ring of paedophiles that we'd like to carry on growing and growing so we can get access to tons and tons more children like this." And so here we are giving her a check and apologising for putting in that toxic, genetic mutating, slow killing shite. Right? And then went straight back to making Gatorade and everyone starts buying it again. Right, I'm your milkman. I'm the milkman of human kindness, and I'll leave an extra pint at your door. Right, so I'm your milkman, right? You say, "Erol, I'd like, that sounds remarkable, like the accent I was just doing a minute ago. Try another one. "Erol, I'd like a pint of your fantastic new goat's milk, if you don't mind, sir." "Coming at you, sir, coming at you. I'll drop one on your doorstep every day, how about that?" "Here, that's fantastic. I look forward to it every day." So every fucking night I'm wanking into his milk because, as far as I'm concerned, he's not treating me like Marilyn Monroe. Right? And so every fucking day I'm getting off, ameliorating against the hatred I have for him for not treating me as though I'm Clark Gable. Right? And because he's drinking my spunk, I feel a bit better about the fact he doesn't treat me as though I'm Brad Pitt, right? She's thing, right? Eventually his daughter says, "Here, this milk tastes of spunk." And her father says, "Here, how do you know what spunk tastes like?" I'll draw a veil over that one. So the thing is this, right? So, the father contacts me, right? "What are you wanting? What are you wanting?" "Here, there's spunk in this here milk." Next thing, we're in front of the local press, and I've got my arm around his daughter, saying, "Absolutely, you've gone correct in what you've said, right? Gone official, right? The thing is this, right? I came in the milk, right? But I'll never do it again. Here's a check, and from now on, there'll be no more coming tip milk." "I'll have another pint tomorrow, Erol. Thanks very much. Goodbye." Right? How insane would that be? Wouldn't it be appropriate to fucking hang the milkman by his fucking balls? Yeah? Take him to the fucking river, as he did with more men than females who you'll never read about. When do you ever open the newspaper and it says, "Warlocks used to be drowned and burned routinely. It must never happen again"? No, what you find is man's cock got cut off by angry, hate-filled psychopath lesbian. Ha 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 ha! It's a cause celeb. So the point being, of course, to get back to it point, right? If you know the person personally, you don't have this disconnect. You say, "I want to kill my milkman," or to put it more accurately, "I want to kill my milkman," right? So, why are the people from Gatorade just like, it always pissed me off, why is it nobody executes the Wizard of Oz? He sent out flying fucking monkeys, evil fucking trees, tried everything in his power to have an adverse affect, long-lasting trauma on them, and effect, he even fucking rips the guts out of the straw man, right? And then when they rumble him, right, and they pull back the curtain, right, he's like, oh well, alright, there you go, here's a ticket back to Kansas, you know, watch the rest of the movie in colour. Cheerio now. No, if I was there, bethud, yeah, then I'd be going back to fucking Kansas, yeah? So, because I'm a real man, I'm a living Christ. Right, so, the point is this, right, see most people in America, right, they're as thick as shit, right, that's a simple fact, right, and they become a oneness when you tell the truth. Right, every single person who's in America who heard me say that, right, would think, right, they consider themselves as a oneness when you slag off America. However, they themselves can say dreadful things that are probably true about America, and that's okay, you know. So it goes back to being a division again. But it's the same with females, you know. If you say something about a female, then that female is at liberty to imagine she's part of a sorority, and after she's finished carving you up, right, she then goes back to hating every other lesbian on earth. So the point is this, right? Right? You need to start providing them with brutal, merciless physical consequence and use lethal force if they resist, right? It's just a matter of getting together, uniting, right? Putting aside your petty differences, right? Right? You can go back to killing each other over who shagged whose goat in 1982, right? After you go to where they are, the genocidal-paedophiles, and fucking execute them if they resist. Otherwise, neuter them, castrate and spay them, and put them in an open-air asylum where we can then contend with them thereafter. Right? And that's an end to all the problems. But what we'd have to do, because of incontinent baby, is we would have to purify the Earth's atmosphere and work like fuck, putting ourselves into a waste-free optimum, taking advantage of the people that are genociding in Africa and all these places, so we get together, and the people that are routinely killing in China, get all these people into a oneness, so we can get ourselves to fuck off the planet in biospheres and watch it fucking recover in its own time. It'll be thousands and thousands of years before this Earth recovers for our species to get any use out of it. However, the Zionist Jews have antidotes for everything that they've created. And like I say, the determination, you have to see it, the determination of the megalomaniacal psychopath, and I've seen it, it's harrowing, man. You know, but, you know, when I see it, you know, it's just like, I just want to fucking smash them one in the fucking mouth, you know. I have nothing to do with anyone, so I just want to get further and further and further away. And because I channel the moral law of the universe, unsurprisingly, miracles happen all around me. You think that would make world news, you know, but obviously the Judean Post don't want to know there's a miracle performing living Christ on earth, you know. And maybe it's better that they don't. And so, right, so, point is this. I said on Jewtube, evidentially, just over a quarter of a decade ago, I want to live in a forest, but I didn't fall over at the time. Then what I'm saying now is I want to live on a mountain, and I'm moving towards the mountain. I'd quite like to get back to Africa, which is quite convenient, right? So Folelo and Babakoto are in Africa, in Kenya. Okay, yeah. Right, so while they're there, that's what we evolved from. Sir, why Kenya? Right? Basically, we evolved, obviously, from there. And the very, very, very first example of ourselves forming into a tribe came because of our care, our depth of care for one another. Yeah, we accepted some kind of a pecking order, but only based upon morally caring about one another. You know, so you had King and you had his prince, you know, Babakoto, right, whose descendants can be seen warming the bench for Celtic, right? And the long and the short of it is, they had to make decisions, right, because the tribe was growing, right? So what decisions did they make? Well, it was down to Babakoto, wasn't it? The king was too busy with his harem of fucking monkey women. They've not really evolved much, have they? And so he sent Babakoto out on a, you know, a reconnaissance mission. And what he wanted to find out was who were the people who we should be shoving, you know, out the way, as it were, away from, you know, the centre of the origin of our species, right? And so Babakoto went out and you know, kept his ear to the ground and followed all the different little cliques that were forming due to inbreeding and people not wanting to breed with those people and so on and so forth. And, you know, from all those different little tribes who were getting shoved further and further and further away from the epicenter of the origin, right, were the most shite. Yeah. So the people who live the furthest away from Kenya are the most shite people on earth, you know. So Baba Koto went, in the first tent that he went to, he listened to it, and inside he heard these voices. Billy, Billy, take your cock out that Wayne's mouth, you dirty fucker. You know what I mean? I've got a perfectly good mouth over here myself. Right?
Aye, alright then, aye. I know it's tradition, innit? Tradition. My dad fucked me in the arse, so I'm fucking this one in the mouth. Aye, that's an upgrade when you look at it.
You're a fucking clatty fucker. So Baba Koto had quite enough of that shower of shite, right, in their traditions, right? So he goes over to the next little clique on this perimeter of Kenya, origins really of our species, and he finds there a group of people. Thanks, fuck them, right? And and he looks through the fucking, you know, the hay, and they're fucking up to all sorts, man. Oh no, right? He's seen enough, right? He's enraged, right? And so then he goes into this other fucking section of the outskirts, right? And he finds another shower of fucking garbage. And it's just garbage after garbage after garbage. So he's pretty much got a good idea, right, of what these people are all about. And if you pan forward, right, you know, you've got the people who ended up near the middle being the middle best. You get the people who are the furthest reaches being the most shite, you know. It's really, really subhuman, inbred, insane garbage, right? And so when Baba Koto came back to right, and delivered this information from his reconnaissance mission, you know, it was decreed these people had to be launched, right? However, you know, Bully, yeah, in a lane, right? When they were leaving, they said, "We'll be back, by the way."
Aye, we'll be back, by the way. We'll be back.
We'll be back, by the way.
We'll be back.
And Baba Koto and you know, thought this was impossible, and Baba Koto announced this to them, but they were adamant that they would return for this great wrong that had been done to them. So Baba Koto says to right, let's just fucking kill them. But the king would not hear any of that, because that'd be blood on our hands. He's in league with the moral law of the universe. He's a caring moral man. But Baba Koto said, if we don't, an enormous evil will come from that. Look, we are shoving them out. Think of the illogic of that. We are spreading evil to encompass the entire earth while we're stuck in fucking Kenya. It's us that should be fucking going out and them inbreeding in Kenya. Yeah? However, before Billy and Elaine left, Elaine turned and said,
What about the Bampot family? They're a bunch of fucking cunts. At least we don't even put a mask on. They're wearing a mask. The Bampot family, get them to fuck.
But they didn't. They didn't evict the Bampot family. You're suffering for that to this day. Right? So, the tribes fucked off, right? And the most shite people who nobody in Kenya could stand, because they try to torment people when they've been tormented, right? And the person they try to torment is always innocent, and they are relentless, they're determined, right? They are ruthless, they're immoral, they're savage, they're unself-aware, they just see you as an object to take their shit out on, yeah? Baba Koto noticed the Hun village was always taking its garbage and its shit and going to the next village where these kind of ginger bastards were and dumping their shit with them, and then going to the king and saying, "They're dumping their shit at our house." Yeah, that's them to a T, right? They do it to you and pretend you're doing it to them, blah, blah, blah. Psychopaths are identical, you know, you don't get much variation on 3-year-olds, right? Right? And they are arrested at that age. And if you look at the womb, right, you will see that basically you go from essentially a tadpole to a frog to a rat to a dog to a monkey to a human baby. In 9 months, you see it all happening, right? Evolution being accelerated in less than a year, right, in the womb. So, a womb with a view, right? And the long and the short of it is, however, you see that evolution, you know you go from a zygote to what you are today, a fucking billy goat. Right? I'm just kidding. Right? Don't be gruff. The thing I'm pointing out is this, right? At some juncture, right, you can see this, right? There are people born with arrested limbs, right, of their body physically, right? You know, arrested, like, you know, legs and things like that. You know, and I've yet to meet a Hun who can make it to the grave with a full complement of limbs. And in the 10 years that I studied Huns quite closely, never did I meet one who made it to the end of the 10 years with both legs. In the same condition they first walked through my door, and I took their money and gave it to starving darkies. So the thing is this, right? The point being is this, right? That so just like you can have an arrested limb, that's the best impression of an arrested limb you'll ever see. You can have an arrested limb of the brain, and unfortunately, psychopaths have several arrested limbs. However, they con you, and that's what makes them think you've got any specialnesses, right? And they con you really quite easily by bullshit. Right, that's it. And one technique, right, one simple technique, you have a moral conscience, so you don't want anybody to think you're a bad person because you know you are a good person. However, when someone who is fucking rotten to the core points their finger at you and says, "You're a bad person," right? Whatever words are behind that shite, right? You will self-examine. You know, I never have, in the way that the imbeciles have presumed I have. You know, I've just fundamentally lacked arrogance. So I've never been so arrogant as to believe I'm the arbiter of truth, and I've never been so stupid as to believe they're the arbiter of truth. Lacking arrogance and presuming they have self-respect, which they don't, lacking self-awareness, their concept of self-respect is nonsense, right? And basically corruption and actual evil, the definition of it. So the point being that I just presumed that they believed what they were saying to be true. I didn't know that they were insane, you know, morally insane, lacking self-awareness, and not seeing others the way they should, with a full duplex, you know, complex, an external map of reality that should be there. You know, they see reality no better than a dog or a monkey, which lacks a theory of mind. And the long and the short of it is, so their idea of getting revenge, existential revenge, for you being born human, is to pretend to themselves that you take yourself too seriously. To pretend that to themselves, that you take yourself too seriously and that you have a vulnerability. If they calculate that they can offend you and you don't provide them with brutal, merciless physical consequence, then they get off on it. They go from one extreme of the wall of death in their head, lacking a soul, to the other extreme. There can be only one, right? They go into like a fucking a shite impression of Highlander, right? And they are garbage, and because as a species it's been pathologically engineered out of your repertoire, right? Even though all your ancestors survived because they executed bad males and bad females in that order, right? However, you've stopped doing that because you are worried that would make you a bad person. You may even genuinely think that would make you a bad person if you provide bad people with consequence. Yeah? Unless you do, they'll just keep putting cum in the Gatorade, yeah, until you go to where they are and fucking execute them, plug them at source. Yeah, that's not it. Don't start with your bum monkey again. Here's the thing, right? So, all the shit of the day fucked off from Africa, right? Now, the most evolved people were the Asian people, and they kind of offshot in each direction. However, the least evolved were essentially the people who were to become Peruvian, the people who were to become Celts, really, but specifically Scots, and the Pygmy tribe, who were picked up by probably the most insane of all the tribes, who were the ancient Egyptians, and they started all this fucking shite, you know, this pyramidal crap. However, the Peruvians had the exact same mentality, and they had a pyramid obsession. All psychopaths are obsessed with pyramids, and pyramids are the epitome of weakness, right, and corruption incarnate. Right? You turn a pyramid upside down, the person at the bottom is showing enormous strength holding everyone up. Right? They're human, they're thinking rightly, they're thinking morally, and they're channeling, coincidentally, the moral law of the universe through that cone, right? Essentially. Yeah, and I'm not aware of that really. You know, it's just, it keeps on happening. You know, see, if you'd earned as much money as I do when I just open my eyes in the morning, you know, you'd be out celebrating. It barely registers. Like, here's excellent news, Erol. You know, here's, you know, like 3 times the amount of dosh you had yesterday. Oh, really? Aye. You know, it's just so, you know, and there seems to be a fiscal law of the universe, you know, and it's to that finite, you know, what almost to an autistic extent, you know, like where every finite detail of my life is being rewarded. However, selflessly, I still expose myself to animate shite
who guess and hope in my direction. See if I type shite with my extra thumbs, my erected extra thumbs. There must be something I can type that'll make him choose to react. You with my spastic chicken brain wants him to react. See with my spastic chicken brain wants him to react. He must choose to react that way when I type by pretending and hoping, pretending and hoping, pretending and hoping.
So that's a psychopath for you.
It seemed awfully like you.
Get out of here, your mum's a darkie.
So the thing is, right, your mum is a darkie, but the thing is, we were all white, right? All at the back, right?